Dr. Finkelstein says 6 million, there is no argument about it. We had 10
I said 5 to 6
5 to 6 million, right? I apologize. Over 5 million. We had 10 extermination camps. Is it feasible for 5 million to have been?
It's not reasonable, you know, if you consider the number of Jews living in Europe, something about 7 million, I mean, something about this 7 or 8 million, and you believe that 5 or 6 million of them were living inside Germany or in territories which the German Nazi government take the control of.
7 million under Nazi-occupied Europe.
Okay, and saying that 5 or 6 million of those...
And what is the proof of this gas chamber?
If you believe that something about...
How could you possibly kill anything like that number?
Lady Michel Renouf, we'll get back to you. Please let our Tehran guest have his say before we get back to you.
If you believe that 5 or 6 million of these 7 million population were killed or executed or somehow thrown into the gas chambers, then what happens to those millions of people who have immigrated from Germany? You know, when the Nazis were in control in Germany and other parts of Europe, we had a huge amount of people, a huge population of Jews immigrated to the United States, to Russia, to Britain, to Palestine. I mean, where does this figure comes from?
Does it add up?
And at the same time, you know, there are 10. It's said that there are 10 death camps. How can 6 million people be executed or be killed in just 2 or 3 year period? You know, from the first days, it's said that the chambers were made during the last 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 years of war.
Right.
So the number does not match. You know, killing 5 or 6 million people in just 2 or 3 days. This is something, I mean, it's not something logical, sir.
Okay, we'll get back to you, Dr. Finkelstein. We'll get back to you. Please let's have Lady Renouf her say.
Well, the pointed issue really is this concept of this mass murder weapon. This is the issue that we need to discuss. Where is the proofs that stand up to examination on this? This is why we need an open, normal, historical debate on these issues. We should not need to go to Tehran in order to be able to assemble people in order to have this discussion. It should be a normal process, because Western source skepticism, with no bottom line at all, is normal. We would like to see this subject and those subjects pertaining to it normally accessible in kitchens, with academics, in any which way. It should be something that is open and available in the West, in our free West, and it simply isn't. And if I may just quote 2 journalists who are saying, I think, the right thing, that the Guardian journalist Tim Garton-Ash, on October 19th last year, he was calling for the release from the Viennese prison of David Irving, the expert on World War II and the Third Reich, and he wrote as well, quote, far from criminalizing denial of the Armenian genocide, we should be decriminalizing denial of the Holocaust. Then there was the Times journalist Ben McIntyre on December 20th, 2006, and he wrote, quote, the proper reaction to Mr. Ahmadinejad is not to demand that such Holocaust revision events be outlawed, but still less to try to silence or imprison cranks such as Irving. Instead, the global community should hold its own conference, inviting also the international pariahs of Tehran. Now, this is the kind of thing that we really want to talk about. The concept of releasing us from this thrall to be able to speak frankly about the source skepticism that is the basis of our culture. This is what we are being denied. Our war dead are being denied the very thing that we are told we went to war in World War I and World War II, these 2 horrible intergentile wars, for which neither side benefited but a third party did. Okay. As Professor Finkelstein has noted. This is what we need to straighten out. All of these aspects need to be talked about, either in the kitchen sink or in academic circles. It doesn't matter. We should be able to speak about it, and there's something radically wrong if we cannot.
Thank you. Dr. Finkelstein, your comments, and would you also please tell me, as far as you're concerned, your views regarding freedom of speech? Why are people who query this, the Holocaust are persecuted? We had some participants being persecuted upon returning to the country?
You know, I feel like we're talking in circles at this point. I think my views of freedom of speech are clear. No thought whatever across the board should be criminalized. That's, for me, an uncontroversial opinion.
Right.
But that's not what we're discussing now. Even maniacs have the right to speak, but you don't invite a maniac to a conference to have a serious discussion. And what you're proposing here is to make no distinction between what people say, as the woman put it, at a kitchen sink, and what they say at a conference. That's not serious. And I don't think anyone in Iran would use that standard. For example, if you were to have a conference on how to build a nuclear bomb, you would not invite people who are discussing the topic around a kitchen sink. You would invite serious physicists who have done research in the topic and who are knowledgeable.
Right.
Do you know why I think you would do that?
They were invited. Such people
you
were
know
invited.
why I think you would do that? Because you are now acquiring nuclear capability.
Dr.
So
Finkelstein, you were invited, sir. Sir.
That tells me Iranians know how to do serious research, and they
Right.
know the difference between flat Earth societies and physics.
But the
So
fact
you have
remains...
you have a clear notion of the distinction.
Right.
And all I'm saying is, when it comes to topics like the Nazi Holocaust, you use the same scholarly standard. You don't invite
But people
a
around the
farmer-
kitchen sink are imprisoned.
Okay, okay, let me just, we've got 1 minute left.
Okay,
Dr.
I'm gonna
Finkelstein,
take-
people of your caliber were invited to the meeting, and unfortunately you turned the invitation down.
I don't think it's accurate.
Okay,
I don't think that's an
okay.
accurate statement.
We have to pursue that topic in another forum program. That's, we've got 40 seconds left, and I'd like to give it to our Tehran guest. Mr. Qasemi, 40 seconds.
Sir, you mentioned that 5 or 6 million people were killed
30
during the Holocaust. I was wondering, you know, in 4 or 5 decades after the Holocaust event, you know, during all those investigations, there was never a written permit or an order issued by the Nazi government found.
Right.
How can 5 or 6 million people be killed without any
Mehran
written
Qasemi, we
permit?
have to continue that topic maybe in a future program. That's all the time we have left. I'd like to thank our London guest, Lady Michelle Renouf, human rights activist. We are joined in Chicago by Dr. Norman Finkelstein, Political Science Department of DePaul University, and Tehran by Mehran Qasemi. Thank you for watching Forum. Please send us your comment at sahatv@irib.ir. Thanks and good night.